right.
Oh, yeah.
We are back.
I just got all tingly.
You felt it? It just out of
yeah,
nowhere.
I know.
I didn't know what we were doing.
That's
We
good
just came
music
back into the
for it.
room, and all of a sudden, it was just, I felt the intensity, and then the music
boy.
started, and we're here.
If I was a wrestler, this would be my music.
You think so?
Just like, when that hits, you just get goosebumps.
What kind of tights would you wear? Like the full pants ones, the Speedo type, a unitard?
Whatever.
I'll let you think about it.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, that's
What would
one
your
of those
wrestler name be?
I don't know. You know what? This is too much commitment. I jumped in. This is one of those
We're
things.
gonna give you a nickname. We're gonna put you in a unitard.
I
We're
dove
gonna
in
start
just
this
entirely too fast. I'm not ready for this.
Mask
you guys
or
are
no
putting too much
mask?
pressure on me.
What?
Mask or no mask?
Oh yeah, mask or no mask? What do you think?
Probably a mask. I'd wear a mask just because, like with Rey Mysterio, there's always that mystery.
And then people wouldn't recognize you as much out on the street. You could still live your
you could
life.
have a social life.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be nice.
Very interesting.
That would be the dream. That would be living
You
the
wear a
dream.
mask like the Whisperers.
Oh, gee, you guys, I have such a bold prediction.
I have a Morgan prediction, but I want you to get your prediction out.
I'm going to make a prediction before it gets to me. So.
Anyone that says that, y'all change your views so much, that's what we're here for. Like, we're making predictions, and of course, we're making a bunch of different ones because we're trying to figure this out. So,
And the landscape is changing so quickly, so drastically.
It is. What did you guys, number one, what did you guys think of last night's episode?
Filler.
Really?
It was a puff piece.
I really enjoyed it.
Set up for. I liked the last. Had a couple of questions throughout it. Like the last couple of minutes. It was the last 5 minutes were great, but it's just a setup for what's to come. I
enjoyed it. I really liked Carol's thing. I like.
Oh yes.
I really like the Carol thing.
That's where my prediction's concerned with Carol.
With Carol. Okay, my prediction is with Morgan. And
my prediction is with the horse.
The horse. Okay.
That guy was for his horse.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's my prediction. I'll get to that.
I wonder if he was coming from possibly like the sanctuary, not the sanctuary.
Kingdom.
The kingdom.
Oh, I love it that he's finally kind of getting through to Rick.
Yeah,
like that when he was like, that guy.
I love
yes,
that too.
I spared him, and yes, he took Denise hostage, but he saved her life,
and she in turn saved
Carl. And that really, anytime you bring up Carl, man, bring Carl into the situation, Rick lights up.
At the same time, he's the one that dragged Denise out into the open like that. She would have been, safe and sound with Rosita and Eugene.
But I think more of his thing was this guy saw the error of his ways, and if you give them the chance, then people can be better.
Yeah,
I think Morgan's doing a lot of rationalizing on that one.
A lot.
I mean,
and
I do see your point. You're saying like basically it's like right, she was in danger and he saved her and she saved Carl. However, he put her in danger first. It's like me throwing you into the deep end when you can't swim and then saving you and saying, "Well, see now if I wasn't here, you would have died."
Oh, so like how my dad taught me to swim.
That's how my best friend's dad taught him to swim.
Yeah, we might have your friend and I might have the same dad.
It sounds terrifying. My parents took me into the shallow end.
Love
and
is
held me under my belly.
Justin. Love is terrifying.
It was a pretty normal swimming lesson, but kudos. I bet you swim better than I do.
No, it's a lot of fear, but yes, I do swim pretty strong.
That's awesome. Well, we know you've got that covered.
Yeah,
which is apparently swimming. I'm not cutting too far, but I'm really excited for Fear the Walking Dead.
I was just thinking that too,
a lot of the previews showing us, ocean. I mean, it looks like we're diving right back into it.
Yep.
Apparently, they're not having the kick-ass ocean party I would be having out on the yacht.
I'm really hoping T-Pain's on that yacht. I'm on a boat.
I'm on a boat.
Don't you ever forget.
No, man.
But so all right, now, JP, what'd you think about the episode?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I mean, I definitely see what Matt's saying. There was some filling, some nice filling, a little pepperoni, a little ham. But,
yeah.
But I will say again, it's not Daryl and Beth filler. This wasn't a filler where they're trying to fill up space in the season. I feel it was a little bit slower, but it's more of it's a build up. It's kind of like the appetizer.
It definitely built me up. I am on the
Daryl and Beth.
Seat.
I know I've said this before. Daryl and Beth is your benchmark. We need to have a little ding whenever you bring up the Daryl and Beth. So it's better. Is on the Daryl and Beth? I'm making like a pie chart or a flow
I just
chart
remember
or
that
something.
episode. It was a good one. I'm not at all taking anything from it, but I just remember after it ended, I was like, God. I mean, you wait all week for this, and us super fans. You get so excited and you're like, here it comes, and then you got done with that one and you're like, man.
That's what I felt about this episode. That's how I felt.
Oh, see, I didn't feel that way at all. I was on the edge the whole time. Like when Dwight came up behind Daryl, it was slower, but at least this one had moments where it was like, oh shit. That one had none. That one the whole time was just like, oh, Daryl finally cried. And
why are people thinking that Daryl is dead? Because after I saw it, I was like, he totally shot him in the shoulder. I mean, it was overkill that they splattered the blood in the camera, but He's still alive.
Oh, absolutely. He's not dead yet.
I mean, you wouldn't. But it's crazy how people think that you can get. I mean, I've never been shot, but aren't there like 2 main arteries in the shoulder? And if you get shot in the arm, like that one guy who Carol didn't kill, who didn't end up killing.
Yeah.
He was just walking along just fine. Not like the years of pain.
Well, that's I read an article about
done.
that. They were talking about the things people don't realize about getting shot as opposed to the movies. That when anyone gets shot, genuinely anywhere. I mean, yes, there could be freak times where like it goes to your hand and it heals and you're good. But like, I mean, you've got years of therapy and hospital bills, and
tendons.
Yeah, I mean, it's a process to build back up. Even a shoulder shot or an arm shot. I mean, it's like if it hits you in the shoulder and it doesn't do anything, you got like lucky.
So no, Dwight, he will not be all right.
Bob probably wouldn't have been on The Walking Dead. Remember back in season 4 when they had the governor thing, he got shot in the shoulder.
Oh, Bob.
And was just it's a clean exit. Okay. Wrap it up. You will tend it later. And it's like no, that I'm sure he could have continued on, but it probably wouldn't have been. I mean, that arm, like I said, might have been completely useless. But yeah, that guy. That's the thing too. He was following Rick and Morgan. We never saw him after that, so odds are he's probably still following Morgan. Right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, he didn't follow Rick because Rick got back to Alexandria.
Do they already know where Alexandria is?
That's where they were headed to Alexandria. Yeah. That truck was headed to Alexandria. Okay. I mean, that's crazy to think, too, that
12.4 clicks or whatever the guy said.
Mm-hmm. And they were only taking like 5 guys there? What's up with that?
I don't think they had any clue what they were
just
up against.
Just like scouts, maybe?
And when they were saying that, we were talking like when Carol was great acting job on her part.
Oh, yeah.
That scene was so badass where she guns those guys down. It's just like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly when Clint Eastwood faces the 3 dudes in the desert and they don't know he's got his hand on his pistol under his poncho.
Crack shot. Yeah.
Jeez.
Man. I mean, that was excellent. I didn't realize, too, at the beginning of the episode when she's in her room, that's what she's sewing up. On that sleeve.
I didn't think about that.
That's what she was sewing up.
Oh,
yeah, she was sewing up the gun thing. Like she was preparing for that. But I mean, it's like I really do think that this her crying act. I don't feel like, and I no longer feel like that's just a distracting act of her trying to let you guard.
This one, I think
she genuinely wanted those guys to turn around and leave. I think we've got a Carol that's fed up with killing. Yep. She wants to. She'll never clear her conscience. I mean, she's killed a lot of people, but she wants to stop adding to the body count. And I think this time that crying was legit.
Again, it's what Morgan's been saying all along.
Right.
It's just there's a better way. There's a different way.
God, but how would she have gotten out of that without killing
there
him?
Was,
there was no way. But I'm just saying.
But that's where her head
is. She tried to
that
find
was like
a
way. Struggle within herself and with those folks. Like I think as she was begging them, and I mean, you can look so far into it like character study, but I feel like in half the reason she's crying is because she knew she's going to have to kill him. She just is hoping that one little glimmer of hope that they might go, you know what? Okay, we're out. We're sorry to bother you, ma'am. Have a good one, Nancy. And drive off.
From where'd she say? From
Manchester, I think?
Montclair.
Yeah.
I kind of want to say Montpelier.
That was just so great because when she said, I'm nobody, I'm just thinking man with no name, Clint Eastwood. I put it all together because that's one of my favorite movies.
We need to find out if they took some influence from that scene.
I bet they had to have, man. I didn't watch The Talking Dead. Maybe they mentioned it.
Very well could have. I didn't see but a little bit of that.
These people need to stop being ruled by their emotions. Carol, Daryl, just running off half-cocked.
All of the badass people have left all of
Well, they are. They're defenseless right now. Now, luckily, Rick's back. You've got Rick and Abraham and Sasha, but other than that, man, I mean, you just pretty much left all of your most vulnerable people alone.
Eugene's probably ready to bite some more dicks,
right?
He's ready to go.
I certainly hope so.
He's got it healed up by now.
I mean, it really was. It's like he told me earlier when we were at the gym. He's like, man, Daryl just kind of screwed everyone on that. He takes off and it was crazy how they did it too, because I thought from the previews that Daryl was taking off after Carol, but actually he wasn't.
He was taking off
going hunting.
It was Morgan. And you know what? They did say, all right, let's get to our theories, just because I'm going to get to Morgan real quick, because I was going to say someone, and this is kind of inspired by a listener comment, but not entirely, like it inspired the thought. He said that it shows Morgan on a horse, and that maybe Morgan will end up getting killed. Here's what I think may happen. All right, just here, Bear, you know how shows love to have some kind of symbolic justice, all of that. Morgan built the jail and doesn't want Rick to kill anybody. Morgan will get his head beat inside out by Negan in front of Morgan.
Morgan will?
Morgan. Then, as we know, all right, again, we spoil the comics. Sorry, this is like math here. We're putting formulas together. If you are not a reader of the comic or you haven't caught up, tune out. You've got 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Nice. Good job.
In the comic, Rick doesn't kill Negan when he has a chance. He slits his throat, they fight, and he doesn't kill him. He locks him up for the rest of his life. Says, you know what, we're going to try.
He saves his life.
Yeah.
Like, he would have bled out right
he slits
there.
his throat and then like grabs it.
Yeah, he makes sure to keep him alive.
Yeah, so he's like, okay, we're going to try a different way. So it's kind of where Rick turns over a new leaf. It's like, we're done with the brutal old ways. We're going to get back to civilization, yada, yada, yada. So what if Morgan gets killed by Negan trying to be peaceful? So then at the very end, Rick does the same thing. He doesn't kill Negan, but instead locks him up in the prison that Morgan built for the rest of his life.
Like, I feel like that jail's going to...
It comes back around. It's like Morgan gets killed, so like Rick will have that opportunity to kill Negan down the road in the next season or two, and he'll think of Morgan. And Morgan, of course, if Morgan's brutally murdered, it's going to be something that sticks in Rick's head, you know, for the rest of his life. So like as he's getting ready to kill him, he thinks of Morgan, and even though Morgan's been brutally murdered, he would never want him to kill Negan. So he's like, you know what, I've got a better idea. And they lock him in the prison. So even though Morgan wouldn't kill him, Morgan still gets justice because the jail he built is what's going to house Negan for the rest of his life.
Now, in the comic books, how many people were held captive? Like when he had them lined up, how many people of theirs did he have?
Just Negan.
No, you're talking about
who did Negan have?
He had pretty much the majority of the group.
Because I'm trying to think right now who's being held. Like
you've got Daryl, Rosita, Morgan. Well, Morgan possible. We don't know. He's being but the guys Glenn, behind him. Glenn for sure.
Michonne.
That's right. Michonne and Glenn were together. And then possibly Carol and Morgan.
Right.
So it's going to be 6 people that he'll have.
And I feel like Rick's going to have to watch, like he said, in the comics, some shooters come to the gate. Well, actually, the Saviors do, too. That's when Eugene bit the guy in the dick was when they came to the gate.
Is it me? I've never been bit in the dick. Do you heal that quick?
I don't think so.
Like, wow.
Probably more emotional scarring than anything.
He's okay. He's just chilling.
And can we, if you get a chance, go back and watch that scene and look at the way Dwight's holding his gun. He's got like the first finger on top of the slide and his middle finger's in the trigger, and he's got it pointed up above his head. Go back and watch. I don't care who says what, I get that, but it's like.
You would think they'd have people on set looking for that kind of stuff.
You would think so. I'll show. I actually have a picture of it. I'll put on our Facebook. I'll show you guys.
And I'm sure it'll pop up on the screen now when we're talking about it.
Yeah,
you're good at that.
But talking about like professional wrestling, like Matt. So you think the dick bite is going to be Eugene's signature move? Like even when it's totally
whenever someone attacks Eugene, just runs around biting dicks.
Like even when it's totally unnecessary. Like he's just going to be like
Eugene. No. Oh, I'm sorry.
Eugene, we stopped fighting an hour ago. Stop chewing on it.
I found it perpetual to your detriment. I'm just trying. I don't even know enough big words.
You were going good, though.
Yeah,
you were going
perpetual
good.
And detrimental were the 2 words I was trying to use, and I couldn't think of a way to use
detrimental to the fundamentals.
There we go.
Of your thought process of why I should stop chewing on this penis.
That my canines and my incisors will sink into your member. That's all.
For that, I just got a funny image though. It's like they're all hand to hand fighting like the wolves, and you've got Eugene just running like person to person, just.
Jeez.
Like, oh my God, they've got a dick biter. Fall back.
Oh my God, that's funny, dude.
Negan's like, I'm not going to deal with this right now. And have y'all seen the new trailer that shows Negan?
Yeah, his back.
I got goosebumps. Well, they show his back and the back of his head and his back.
Lucille, yep.
But they don't show his face. But just the way he says, hi. And, he says it almost like he's getting ready to do one of those, like, I don't want to kill you, but I'm going to have to. Like the way he's like, I'm Negan. He's about to turn around and to give his little, I don't want to kill you, but which they have. Our group has killed quite a few members of the Saviors. Way more, I think, than the comic book, right? They killed that one little group on the road.
I think so.
And
all the
Negan
people
killed
in that
Glenn.
Compound?
They killed everyone in the compound, those people on the road. Daryl killed the other people on the road. They've killed quite a few
the people
Saviors.
that killed Denise last week on the train tracks.
Yeah.
That whole group. Yeah, they've killed a lot.
They really have.
I'm telling you, though, man, Daryl had known he was going to come up on a gang of guys, even if he found Dwight, and all he brings is his crossbow. What's up with that?
I think that's
He's just so happy to have it back.
Yeah, but still, having an assault rifle with you is something. I don't know.
I knew, like, when Daryl and Rosita were sneaking up for Glenn. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, Daryl and Rosita, right, sneaking up for Michonne and Glenn.
Did I miss something?
I knew that. What'd you miss?
When did they get kidnapped? When did they get captured?
Glenn and Michonne?
Yeah.
They were, actually it was like ready for Glenn to get shot in the head because they were kind of like the same thing with Denise. Like they were like the way he was talking to Michonne. And they were like down by the creek or something after they separated. And then all of a sudden, it was weird how
like
they popped up too, like a whistle.
Yeah, whistle.
It's like, or something like that. And one guy stands up and then you hear it again and then another guy stands up.
I don't know how I missed that.
Oh, yeah. And then they're surrounded.
When did I miss that?
I don't know. That was pretty.
Because they got to the point where he was walking through the forest, and I was like, wait, when did they get?
Yeah.
Wow, I must have. Guys, I have those times where I just blank out for 15 minutes, and then I wake back up. My clothes are tattered, covered in blood. I don't know what's going on.
And you started a few fight clubs.
And the worst part of all, I miss The Walking Dead.
I mean, that's the worst.
Yeah, but we don't talk about.
Right? No, you can't talk about it.
You don't talk about.
I mean, that's even the second.
I feel like we've talked about it too much.
I agree.
Meatloaf would be very mad
if he still had his head fully attached.
Oh, that's true too. That's true.
Yeah, we're going to do a podcast about
that. Was the first time we went off topic.
Yeah,
that was nice.
Well,
guys.
Before we got into this podcast, we actually sat here for like an hour talking about all the other things.
We got the poison out,
so we got it all out. Is that the key?
I think that's the key. We need to get here about 30, 45 minutes before we podcast. Talk about everything else we want to tell each other between weeks.
It's kind of like there's something about Mary rule. You get the baby batter out before you go on a first date.
That's true.
That way you don't get all. Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yep.
Speaking of baby batter, we almost saw a little bit of Maggie there. Remember the shower scene at the beginning?
Yeah. This show is amazing at showing bareback. I've said it before. Barebacks and no butt cracks.
No one in the zombie apocalypse has a butt crack.
They have a nicer.
How far down could they go? I mean, there should have been a butt crack.
There should have been a little bitty baby bump, and there wasn't. I didn't see anything like that either.
And her baby. Let's think about that.
Oh,
so much going on.
I didn't see that coming.
You said before the podcast, what if this is a cliffhanger? It better not be, because last night was such a cliffhanger. Mm-hmm. I mean, you've got Maggie's baby. You've got at least 4 folks captured, possibly 6. Mm-hmm. Right? Is that right? We've got those 6 4, people. And Morgan and Carol possibly. And Carol, I'm pretty sure, is injured. They were following a blood trail.
Well, that could have been. Well, no, because that dude that was shot in the shoulder was following them, right?
He found the horse hoof prints. That's what he was following.
I'm so
he looked down and saw the horse hoof.
She killed all of them except for that one guy, and then Morgan and Rick were tracking her by blood. They were tracking,
and the dude was following Morgan and Rick, not
They
Carol,
weren't following the wrong blood trail. So
but speaking of cliffhanger. There's reports that are saying that the final scene will be Negan coming in and picking out who he's going to kill, and then the camera will go to first person view, and then the Lucille will come down on the camera and it'll go black out, and we won't know for about 6 months.
Fear.
I didn't even think about that until I read that.
It's like you don't need. I like to write, but I don't have anything published, so I can't compare notes with people as famous as Scott Gimple and them that's written this awesome show. But still, coming from a writing standpoint, you don't need the cliffhanger. We've been waiting for Negan since the governor died. Mm-hmm. Just to have Negan step up and brutally kill everybody and leave it off like that, we would still be anxiously awaiting to come back. And you don't need to leave us hanging like that. This is one where you don't have to. We're coming back.
3 times they've done that this season. First with Glenn, then with Carol and Morgan down in the basement at the end, at the turn of the season or whatever, and then now with Daryl,
right?
Getting shot in the shoulder or head or whatever they're saying. They keep doing that. It's like an old.
What if we go back?
Give us the payoff.
Actually dead. Like, what if we go back? I know it won't happen, but God, could you imagine the outrage?
Such an ungracious kill.
Mm-hmm. Robert Kirkman said back when Herschel died, the more how important you are to the story will reflect on your death. Like, if you are very important, you'll get a very brutal death. If you're just kind of like a nobody, like Axel. In season 3, you get shot in the head, whatever.
Denise actually had a pretty good death.
Hers is very memorable.
Yeah.
Did you see I put it on the Podcasting Dad's Facebook, where she was like, "Hey Rosita, want to see my impression of Carl?" And then she's like, "Sure." And then it shows on Arrow, and she's like,
"That's funny,
Dad."
That's funny, dude. Good job.
Oh man, but I don't think he'll be dead. But it's like a what if? Like, could you imagine the outrage of a character that big and that important just taken out like that?
Yeah.
Like, you just come back, he's laying on the ground, and Dwight's like, "Oh, guess he's not going to be all right."
He said, "You'll be all right."
Yeah, Dwight, man, they're doing a good job of making you like. He looks, again, and I don't mind. They don't have to look like the comics. He doesn't look to me anything like Dwight in the comics. He was more of like the trailer trash, kind of a gut. Looked like he looked like he would hang out with Trevor from Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah, I could see that.
And this guy's a little skinnier and gankier, and they didn't burn his face quite as bad. I guess it'd be hard to animate no eyelid.
I'm telling you, though.
But he seems to be a good actor.
He's right. I was going to say, but I hate him. Like, they've done a good job of making me.
And what's crazy is he's going to be such a crucial part, like allying himself with Rick and Alexandria.
Oh, there's so many points where, there's several points. Well, I know there's one big point where Rick thinks that they've been betrayed. Think Dwight's on their side, and then they think Dwight's betrayed them, and then it's like, oh crap, he didn't betray. So it's It's a lot of back and forth with him. It's almost like a relationship he's going to develop with Rick and the group.
I mean, say he's responsible for Daryl getting killed or whatever. They're going to have to do business with this guy afterwards. I mean, he's going to be a crucial part of the organization.
And they kind of did have to do that in the comics because he killed Abraham. And then they had to continue to do business with him not long after that. But I mean, his story is pretty cool. I'm imagining it's going to play in with that woman that he rode off on the bike with, that Daryl let go. Yeah, we haven't seen her. We saw him. We haven't seen her. So obviously maybe she's one of Negan's wives now. Or
one would think.
Or something like that.
What if she was one of Negan's wives and then they were trying to escape back earlier?
Well, they could have been because they said that he owed Negan something.
And so that's why he got his face burnt, is because he tried to run away. And
that's what Negan does. Yeah, if you have sex with one of his wives, he doesn't kill you. He just burns half your face with a... I'm just so excited for Negan, and I'm so excited. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, obviously, I can't think of anything that I've seen him in off the top of my head, but everyone just keeps telling me what a great actor this guy is. And
I saw him in Batman vs. Superman this weekend.
It's going to be a very it's going to take a very interesting touch to bring out Negan, because we were talking about it before the podcast that he's like a kid. He's like Sid from Toy Story in a full grown-up body.
Kid, but in a grown-up body.
And he's terrifying at the same time.
You think he's going to tie Rick to a bottle rocket?
It could be.
That's funny.
Oh, jeez.
That's good.
Let's see. Who would be Abraham would be Buzz.
Children.
Sweet. Abraham would be Buzz Lightyear.
Oh, dude, yeah, he'd have to be.
If we have anybody that's good at Photoshop, you should Photoshop us a Abraham into Buzz Lightyear.
Oh my God, I would
costume,
love to see that.
Man, I would love that. Would be. I'd make that our profile picture on our
to infinity and beyond, honey.
And Abraham, man, his little bonding moment with Rick, because I'll tell you what, though they are left pretty defenseless back at Alexandria, they do have two. Because Abraham, man, when we talk about badasses, we don't really throw him in the mix, but Abraham is a badass. Every time he's needed to kick ass, he goes above and beyond to kick it.
And he's the only one keeping a level head right now, you know, not just running out there.
To him, it's almost like he's just numb to the whole situation. Yeah. He's just like, whatever, man.
I mean, he's a military man. He's used to being
he's tapping Sasha after trying so hard.
Oh, how about that awkward moment?
He's probably in Nirvana. You know, he's just like, you finally getting that. He's just like, man, I don't care. Whatever at this point.
Well, he's got Sasha bringing him cigars, and then the whole Rosita just. That was really funny. Like because you could tell he was looking at her when he was talking. When Sasha gave him that cigar, it looked like he was looking off at something else, and then he went up to the ladder, and then she turns around and sees Rosita,
and it's like
daggers.
They've been through hell and back together. They were on the road, Rosita and not Sophia, Sasha, for a long time. You know, between Alexandria and Terminus. So this isn't just someone at Alexandria that she betrayed, you know, getting with her man. I mean, this is somebody they've been through like the worst part of their lives with. And then now she's just like, oh, well, you know, whatever.
That's got to be why Rosita followed Daryl, you know, when he went on his little hunt there. She wants to get with another alpha. You know, she's trying to get that alpha dick.
Right. Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. Well, she's definitely an alpha female, so she definitely needs an alpha male to keep her in check.
And Spencer's no alpha. God, I mean, he's pretty. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he's a handsome fellow.
And I don't know. Speaking of alpha male and alpha female, it was a little sweeter this episode with Rick and Michonne. A little more.
You like it growing on you now?
Tender.
It's growing on, but it was tender. It was a nice little loving moment, and that apple was the most delicious looking flipping apple I think I've ever seen.
Michonne made that apple look.
It sounded the sound and everything. Yeah, man, she was wiping her mouth like it was like juice everywhere. Yeah. I'm hoping it was.
It reminded me of Phenomenon from the '90s, the John Travolta movie. It was like, we'll both take a bite of this apple. It'll be a part of us forever. And that apple will be a part of them forever.
Hey, and actually, guess who else was in that movie from The Walking Dead?
Who? Forrest Whitaker?
No.
John Travolta?
No. Died in season 2.
John Travolta would make a great Negan.
Why am I going brain dead?
While Justin's trying.
What's going on?
Hold on. Think with me here. Old guy, Herschel, Moral Compass before Herschel.
He was in Phenomenon?
No, not Herschel. Before
Dale?
Dale was in Phenomenon. Yes, no he was kidding. Very skinny. He was a guy that came out like, I don't know if he was a lawyer or what, but he's in a suit and he came out. Looks completely different, much skinnier.
Man.
Yeah, watch that.
Can we watch that after the podcast?
Yes.
Phenomenon? I love that movie.
You guys go ahead. I didn't even like it the first time I watched it.
Stop it. It was such a nice
Phenomenon?
Nah, man. Maybe I was too young to get the whole...
Well, we're going to watch it again.
Apparently the book's better.
JP, you've got the straps. We'll tie him to a chair.
We're going to watch this.
We're going to watch it.
Not again.
It's gonna be it'll be just like a Clockwork Orange. We will strap you down and tape your eyelids open.
Eyelids open thing? Yeah, man.
As long as it takes for you to love this movie.
And then after that, I'll be puking and throwing up every time a naked woman comes by or something.
Possibly.
Or anytime vulgarity happens.
Oh, Lord,
I can't be a part of this podcast anymore.
But yeah, so, but one of you had mentioned like it was like watching your brother and sister hook up. Now it's almost like, I agree, but to a different extent. I don't think it's your brother and sister. I think it's almost like watching your mom and dad hook up. You know what I mean? Like these are the two, and we said alpha female. Let's face it, it gets between Carol and Michonne, that's your two alpha females right there. Really, that would be an interesting contest to see who would come out on top. But Rick is the alpha male of that group, so it's like your mom and dad.
I think it evolved more from being like two of your single friends that were separate entities. And then have now become one, and now it's like, okay, they used to be two separate people, but now they're a couple. They used to be like Rick and Michonne, but now they're
growing
Rick
on
and Michonne.
Me. It's growing on me. Like I said, Michonne, I said it like pretty much in the first podcast we did. That Michonne's like in my top 3, if not.
I love her.
Rick is my favorite. Michonne is probably my second favorite. So it's just odd when they hook up. It'd be like if you and JP hooked up. It would just be out of nowhere, and it would put me. I thought we were done
talking about that.
Yeah, you keep bringing it up like every week, and we went through that. We did everything that we wanted to do, and now we're friends.
I mean, the only way to get rid of temptation is to yield to it. I think Oscar Wilde said that.
Is that true? I feel like a lot of crack addicts have become who they are because of that saying.
Because of Oscar Wilde?
Yeah, because of Oscar Wilde.
But Justin, you mentioned alpha females. Can I throw my bold prediction out there?
Yes, please.
Yeah,
Sorry to not ask for it earlier.
All right, so for those of you following the comics, the Whisperers, the savage group, they dress up as the zombies, they put the skins on and live amongst the zombies, and they've effectively weaponized the dead. Their leader is a chick named Alpha. What I'm thinking, and maybe I'm not the first person to connect these dots, and maybe I'm way out of line here. I think Carol wanders off and basically becomes Alpha, the leader of the Whisperers.
You think so?
I think she's going to be the leader of the Whisperers.
But how are we going to have that transition between a Carol that no longer wants to kill to a Carol who now loves to kill and is trying to kill her old friends? What is going to happen to make her turn against her group?
I think she's just going to have to embrace the law of the jungle.
I mean, do you think she'd really be willing to turn on Rick? And
That's
because the Whisperers, I mean, like Rosita, don't she end up with her head on a spike?
Yeah.
Via the Whisperers? What is Ezekiel too, right?
Yeah. Ezekiel too. A bunch of folks.
Right. So I mean, this is. Do you really think you could see Carol going?
Something's going to warp her. She's going to find a bunch of helpless people and make them embrace the law of the land.
What if Rick and them leave her? Like, what if Negan has her and Rick and them don't fight to get her back? Like, maybe Negan's killed a few, and then somehow they leave her, and then that just.
I think something's going to break her, and she's going to shave her head and start putting on zombie skins
crazy.
and start a cult.
She's definitely the one that's badass enough to do it.
That would be a cool villain, too. Like, that would be the next logical step as far as after Negan, you've got this ruthless, relentless villain. Then after that, you could have somebody who thinks like them.
Well, I've always, my favorite way to write a villain is to have them start off by being the best friend of the protagonist first.
Just like Magneto and Professor X.
It's always creates an interesting dynamic.
Judas.
Oh yeah.
Well, right, and you're right. I never thought to put those two together. And it's Easter Monday.
Yes, that's right. I brought that
Easter
up.
Monday. Yeah, very, very good. But I've always just like because it's all like in the X-Men, which I thought X-Men. I thought some of the earlier X-Men movies sucked. It's just my opinion. But then in the one where Phoenix kills Professor X,
X3,
I like that even though him and Magneto hate each other. One of them somebody tried to trash talk Professor X after that, and Magneto stopped him and is like, no, he's twice the man you'll ever be, or something like that. So it's cool to have villains that are once good friends. It just creates a really cool dynamic as opposed to some bad guy that you just don't know walks up and hey, we hate each other now.
Yeah, Magneto's got to be my favorite comic book villain because in his mind he's in the right. He's kind of like the Malcolm X of the Marvel universe.
Yeah, do it for the greater good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like him.
Trying the advancement of his people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even if it means taking down others.
We've been stepped on for too long.
I could see the correlation.
Yeah.
I mean, except for maybe the magnetic powers. But that's cool, dude. That's a thesis paper or something.
That really is.
Like, that's something like if you took African American studies and you were like, I would like to. Your teacher might give you a weird look, but at the same time, they might be like, I'd actually like to see.
Even though
if I was a teacher, I'd love to read that if a student said, I'm going to compare Malcolm X to Magneto.
Just because Magneto's a Jew doesn't mean,
Well, think about it.
I mean, the
Jews and black folks have both been through a lot of stuff in the past.
You remember what Hesh said on The Sopranos? He said it to some guy. My people were the white man's. Can I say the N-word on here? I shouldn't say the N-word. I'm not going to say the N-word, but he said, the white man's, 1,000 years before you, pal.
Right.
But yeah, I'm not going to say the N-word.
But so you think Carol could end up being alpha? You think that's your theory?
I think so. I think maybe like a season out. I would
love that because it looks like she's getting towards the end of her rope, like she's about ready to die.
She's going to go one way or the other.
So it would be cool instead of killing her. Maybe Negan and them catch her and torture her for so long, it just kind of warps her perception, you know.
So I have a theory.
Okay, let's hear it.
And I think it's pretty crazy. Like your theory, I like your theory a little bit better, but it's about the horse. I think that Morgan's on the horse and he's going to get to everybody, and it's going to be nightfall by the time that everybody's together. And he's going to arrive on the horse. He'll be like, "You guys, there's got to be a better way. We can fix it, whatever." And then the horse is going to buck him off. The horse is going to stand up on two legs, unzip from the top. Negan is going to step out of a horse costume.
That would be freaking
Negan was
crazy.
the horse the whole time.
He was the horse all along.
That's why the guy was like, "I'm looking for my horse," because it was just a setup. He was like, "We're going to go out there in this horse costume, and you're going to tell them that we're going to wait for him to come along. We're going to say, hey, this is a horse." And then it's a whole setup.
He's like a literal Trojan horse.
Right.
Like Morgan's riding this horse into Alexandria.
And he'll make a joke about that and then make a condom joke at the same time because he's Negan.
It'd be pretty good, though, if it was just Negan, because then they could kill him off pretty easily if it's just one Negan. So
is Negan the entire, traditionally a horse costume is two people, one in the front, one in the back, but Negan's such a man that he is the whole horse.
He's only one. And they don't ever explain it. He just unzips it and he just pulls it. They don't ever explain how did he do that, because that's part of the mystery. You don't know how he did it.
They've done a great job of keeping Jeffrey Dean Morgan's
under wraps. Yeah.
Like I know, like even the pictures that I've shared on the Facebook are all just someone created them using his face. I mean, we don't know what he looks like as Negan yet. We do see from the trailer he's got slicked back hair. So, the hair's slick now.
Yeah.
So all the pictures we've seen up to this point have just been doctored?
Apparently.
I didn't know that.
I mean, I did like the idea of it just being kind of the regular frizzled hair, because it's like who...
Yeah, and a little scruffy beard.
But apparently, though, when you're the leader of the Saviors, you can get your hands on some fop.
Some pomade,
I don't want fop. I want Dapper Dan.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
He's like a greaser.
I haven't heard someone talk about fop since like the 1960s.
Oh, man, yeah. Well, brother, art thou?
Oh, yeah.
Fop. Damn it. I'm a Dapper Dan man.
Oh, jeez.
Ain't this just a geographical oddity?
That movie is, speaking of Trojan horse.
Based off the Odyssey.
That's based off the Odyssey.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow, guys, we're making like circles here. This is incredible.
We'll have to watch that after Phenomenon tonight.
Now you guys go ahead and watch Phenomenon. And as soon as that's over, I'll show up and let's watch Oh Brother Art Thou all day long. I am a Coen Brothers fan through and through.
Yeah, me too.
We want you to watch Phenomenon.
We really want to watch Phenomenon. What's wrong with you?
All right, fine. I'll sit there, but I'm not going to turn my phone off.
You know what? Hey, we'll take a victory where we can get it.
Thank you.
We'll
I'll sit there. I'm not going to act like I'm interested.
That's cool.
I thought you were a big Forrest Whitaker fan. It's one of his best pieces.
But I feel like,
what was he better in than Phenomenon? You tell me.
All right, hey, Walking Dead. We've got to get. We've got John Travolta.
Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker. Oh yeah. What you said? What was he better in? Damn it! I'm supposed to be diverting.
Yeah, we got him.
But
what is there left?
All right, so I'm trying to think of what all we haven't covered. Now that's what something I was going to say too. Like, now you said the Whisperers. So do you think the Whisperers could have handed the Saviors asses to them?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And then it's no question the Saviors could have handed the Governor and Woodbury their asses. I mean, now that would have been a badass showdown. Negan and not comic governor, but like show governor, because I thought show governor was leagues better than comic governor, honestly. Just he was so charismatic.
The difference was night and day for sure.
But that would be so badass to have seen them two square off. But why can't these groups ever find each other? You know what I mean? Like, why couldn't the Whisperers have stumbled upon the Saviors and then they had this great all-out war? It's like, poor Rick, their group always gets found by the baddies. Yeah. It's like Dragon Ball Z. One bad guy comes back, they defeat him. Then a guy comes across who could have just like backhanded and killed the last villain. And then
something amazing happens in one episode, then 5 episodes go by and nothing happens.
Definitely Dragon Ball Z. They float in the air and talk for like 5 episodes.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you why I am better than you. And then they next time on Dragon Ball Z.
Previously on Dragon Ball Z. Next time on Dragon Ball Z.
And yet I still love it. But
Enid cut Maggie's hair.
Yes.
Right before
so we know that she didn't cut it because she died. A lot of people were worried that
it looks nice.
She had cut it.
I
like it.
I'm not really a fan of of girls with like short hair. It's not that short.
It was closer back to like season 2 Maggie. I mean, her hair was a little bit longer then, but not nearly as long as it is
really
now.
good. She's awesome though. I gotta.
I really like her. Please don't kill her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she's really. I hate sometimes with this show they'll have characters that start to become into their own or these badasses.
Oh, her movie was awful.
And then they kill her.
Sorry, The Boy.
Was it
Whatever.
bad?
Yeah, it was bad.
Man, I wanted to see
That
it.
was bad.
Was she good in Batman v Superman? I mean,
She
the
didn't
little
say a
part that
single
she
word.
had.
And I'm really getting tired. Do we have to every single Batman movie have to watch his parents die or hear about it? Every single Batman movie. But no, she didn't say a single word.
Nothing.
She was just there to look pretty. Jeffrey Dean Morgan probably said like 3 words, but she didn't say anything.
She is good at
It literally
looking
was
pretty.
at the beginning of the
How
movie
weird!
for like
So Jeffrey Dean Morgan,
2 minutes.
aka Negan, and then Laura Cohen, aka Maggie, were a couple in
Yep.
Batman vs
Martha
Superman,
and Thomas
now
Wayne.
there's a possibility that Negan. Well, that's cool though. They've already got some chemistry. They've already had to work together. You know, so it's. I think it's cool how actors do that. Like the guy that plays Father Gabriel. You know, they said when he first came to town. He didn't go out with the gang any.
Yeah, I haven't seen him very much lately.
He didn't live anywhere near where they lived because he wanted to not be that familiar with them, so that when he played the role of like this newcomer to the group, it would seem like I really don't know these people, even the people portraying them. You know, so it's cool how sometimes actors will do things like that to keep with their character.
I feel like Father Gabriel, Carl, Ezekiel, like some of these folks are taking some like back seat right now.
Ezekiel.
Not Ezekiel.
Say, we haven't seen Ezekiel yet.
No, not
No?
Jesus. Not Ezekiel. Sorry. No, the
Heath?
Heath. I don't know. I was
Heath.
thinking Jeremiah. I knew a guy named Jeremiah who looks like has the braids and everything. That's why I was thinking Jeremiah.
Did you guys
Heath
hear?
is definitely taking a back seat.
Did you guys hear about the trouble Father Gabriel, the actor, got into?
Yeah,
I think
it
last
was like
summer?
pot and-
Yeah, he
and
was
all of that,
smoking
yeah.
weed, driving like
No.
100 miles an hour down the
Okay.
highway.
We got to be careful. How in the hell did he get up to 100 miles an hour?
I don't know.
I'm surprised they didn't find him going like 40 and a 70.
Right?
One would think.
Do you know why we pulled you over? Was I going too fast? Actually, no, you were going extremely slow.
You were stopped.
Trying to be safe.
Apparently, he is quite the
So
bad
that's it.
boy.
He was just speeding and smoking pot. That's it.
I think he might have been a little boozy. I can't remember exactly.
You gotta be
well,
careful. Now,
he
let's
had
not
pot
combine
on him. I know
everything.
that, and then I think that he had been drinking possibly. But hey, he was on the next.
I mean, if you want to
season,
do
so-
these things, you're fine. Just don't do all of them at once, like all together.
right?
Good
you know.
advice.
Don't mix them. But
Don't mix them.
yeah,
You'll
so
get the spins and start going 100 miles an hour.
oh god, did we? I'm trying to think. Is there anything we left out of this one? We talked about Maggie. Please don't let her lose. Because if Glenn is, because I really thought Glenn was in the clear. I thought it was Glenn's good. There really could be still a possibility Glenn's gonna die. And I say that sucks. Going into this, do you guys want to? We'll be glued to it. But do you guys want to make our final death predictions? Because we've changed. You know, especially myself. Have changed who I think is going to die, which I think that's our job is to think really critically into the show. But I've changed like 10 times.
I don't even know who to think.
Do we want to give ourselves the same options as our
Which
listeners?
good on them
Yeah.
for keeping it up to guess. Yeah.
I'm going to predict Morgan is
Okay.
going to die, and I am also going to predict that. God, it's between Glenn and it's between Glenn and Daryl.
I feel like Daryl's going to die. That's my
I feel like we
prediction.
think Daryl's going to die, but they'll keep it true to the comics and kill Glenn.
Maybe they'll kill Glenn or they'll kill Daryl, one of the two. Maybe they'll kill somebody and then leave it on a cliffhanger about who the second person they kill is.
Just don't let it be Michonne, please.
No,
they
I'm the
won't.
same
I
way.
doubt they'll
I'm the
kill
same
Michonne.
way
She's
because I remember I said
too much
that
of a
back when they
badass.
first started dating. I was like, hey, now Michonne's kind of on
Yeah,
death watch
yeah.
because we've got
She's
her in a
so happy.
relationship. But maybe and this could not, even if she doesn't kill this or doesn't get killed, this could still mess up her and Rick's relationship as far as like
if he
holy
allows
crap,
something to
right.
happen or something like that.
But my two, I'm going to say Morgan, and as much as I hate to do it, I've been saying Daryl forever and ever and ever. I'm going to say Morgan and Glenn are my two picks.
So you're off Daryl.
I'm still thinking there's a pretty big chance. However, I mean, they just set it up too perfectly.
Just
they
the
shot
fact
him.
that he's the logical choice.
Everyone
Yeah.
is thinking Daryl. I've been thinking Daryl since like 2 seasons back. So I am going to say Glenn because they've given us twice. I'm thinking the 3-strike rule. Baseball, he gets killed with a baseball bat. He's had 2 strikes. This is his 3rd. He's been caught. I mean, I think Glenn's a goner, and I'm going to say Glenn and or Morgan are my picks. Matt,
Those
what are yours?
both good picks. I'm going to say Daryl or Glenn.
Okay.
Like I don't want Morgan to die, but I feel like it could happen. But I don't want to say it. Because
I don't want
him
Morgan to die either. I really do. I like his character.
I'm gonna say
the moral compass never lasts long, though.
I'm gonna say Daryl and Glenn. I like
Daryl and
yours.
Glenn, Morgan and Glenn. Who is?
I can't even. I can't.
You've got to
do
give
it.
us 2. Yes, you can. Just
I
take
have to
2.
give you 2?
You've got to give us 2.
I think Michonne just because I don't want it to happen.
Right.
Just
That's how I was hoping somebody would pick her.
Good logic. I like that.
Yeah. And
like I said, she's my second favorite. They can't kill her.
Oh, jeez.
And poor Rick if they kill her too, man.
That's what I'm saying.
But poor Maggie. I mean, she might be getting ready to lose her baby, and then imagine she has a miscarriage or something, and then Glenn dies.
Yeah, that's my second pick. Maggie's baby. Negan's gonna punch her in the belly.
Maybe that's why.
That's gonna be it.
Maybe that's why Lauren Cohen was so sick to her stomach that she didn't want to come into the last day of filming because she read the episode script.
She's going to lose her baby, and then Glenn dies.
Oh boy,
that could be it. And so who's your
Double
second
whammy.
choice? You can't pick Maggie's baby. You know what? Maggie becomes a leader, though. So this might be the motivation she needs because she, and again, comic book spoilers,
Losing
3, 2,
everything.
1. She goes and kind of, in the comics, she kind of becomes like the leader of the hilltop. So maybe this is what she needs to separate herself from Rick's group and go to the hilltop. She has no anchors now. She's not having a baby, which in the comics she did have a baby, but the baby dies, Glenn dies, and she gets pretty pissed at Rick in the comics. She's like, you didn't do anything. So this might be what she needs to get herself to the hilltop and away from the group. But
interesting.
All right, so
I think Michonne and Glenn, just because Daryl's going to have all that blood on his hands.
You said
Daryl and Glenn.
Okay, so the common denominator here, we've all said Glenn.
Have we?
All three of us think that Glenn is going to die, and it's the second that we choose different. Morgan, Daryl, and Michonne. This is going to be interesting.
Because I know at the beginning of the season I was really avid about Glenn not being dead and all that, but I think at this point they faked us out so much that I feel like that's what's going to happen. That doesn't mean that that's what I want to happen.
Oh no,
but that's what I feel like.
I don't want any of these characters to die.
Absolutely.
None. I'm with JP.
But
If they
it's a
kill
show where we have
Michonne, it would
learned to
just
accept
I'm going to
it.
die inside.
right. If Michonne dies, a part of me will die.
Yeah.
There's only a little bit left.
There's not much soul left in here.
Oh man.
I mean, so if
You
they
got
kill,
no soul. That's super bad.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you.
So, so this is a. Okay, and don't forget, guys, we've got the contest for the bat.
Yeah,
to
not
do
forget-
this.
So are you guys cool to do that even if we don't know who dies?
Yes. So we discussed it before the podcast. Let's say, which God, don't do this. If they leave us on a cliffhanger and we don't know who dies, you just see a bat come down, it goes off. What we're going to do, instead of making you wait until October, we will actually just go ahead and everyone who entered and put down two
I've
names.
got 12 people, and in fact, I'll go ahead and say we got Cam, we've got Quizzy, Joe W, Nocturnal Island, our friend Nocturnal Island.
Hello.
Juan Robles, Lost Cookie, David Hall, Christina Athis, who said the whole thing about the Morgan on the horse and everything. KK Bacon, Luis Osorio, Reds fan 1722, and Nilda Rosado are the ones who have entered.
Right, so
far.
go ahead and
those aren't bad
comment
chances,
your
1 in
two.
12.
Yeah,
Right,
not bad at all.
Comment, give us your two choices for who you think is going to die, and it could be more than two. I mean, we could have some crossover here, and
I'm already excited because I'm gonna, since because Justin, you kind of spearheaded the first contest. JP, you've kind of spearheaded the second contest. The minute that we reach 200 subscribers, I'm going to do our third contest.
Okay.
I can't wait to
And
hear
it's
what you've
gonna
got.
It's going to be awesome.
I think he's trying to
I can't
outdo
wait
us.
to hear what I've got.
I mean, we keep raising the bar. I mean, yeah.
Next up, we've got you, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Negan himself.
Yep.
Delivered to your door.
I was thinking like a dismembered arm or something like that.
Right,
So,
but the whole body works too.
That's good. The whole body.
But yeah, so get those subscribes up, and then again, if you don't worry, we're not going to make you wait another 6 months to win. We'll pick from the folks that have entered throughout the last few videos. Matt's been keeping up with the names, so we'll pick from those, and one of you will get the bat. Hell, you might not want the bat after you see what it does to somebody.
It might incite nothing but just anxiety.
You just
and
see it on the
anger.
wall and just Glenn. So again, we all picked Glenn. So I mean, I'm going to be very shocked if he does not go.
And it's weird because of all the contests, the people who have entered the contest, it's a lot of different stuff. I mean, there's a few Glenn. There's a few of them that guessed Glenn, but for the most part, a lot of them are guessing Daryl.
And I think
Like,
that's
there's a
why
toss-up
they
between the
might
two.
not kill him because because they've been predicting Daryl since before they filmed it. So they could have
Yeah.
easily caught wind of that and when okay, we were going to do it, but
And they keep using this thing about he's got that ride with Norman Reedus, that show coming on,
right,
where he's a motorcycle rider or whatever. But that won't get in the way of him filming the show. Like everybody does movies and stuff.
And someone had commented and said that they saw where Norman Reedus said he had already signed for season 7, which I'm not saying that person's wrong, but I'm going to say this: if they did announce that, that's stupid. That's terrible storytelling.
That could be from a website that you don't know.
Right. It could be like the Walking Spoilers or something like that.
Like
so, but if they did release that, that's ridiculous because I mean that's half the if I found out like right now it was clear cut Daryl's not going to die, I'd be pretty pissed because that's half the fun is like who the hell's going to die. So if I go into this next episode going, all right, well Daryl's not going to die, there goes half of the shock value because part of me still believes they won't kill him off. Yet, anyways. So
I mean, it's way more cruel for him to have to live with getting Glenn killed than actually dying. But
you know what? That could be a good storyline right there, like a whole different Daryl, because Daryl realizes that his actions are what got these people killed. I mean, if he wouldn't have taken off,
and they were practically begging him to go back with them, and he wouldn't do it.
And his bullheadedness got people killed.
A lot of dumb decisions being made.
And then Rosita's sweet, sweet love is what brings him back from the brink.
You want to see that, don't you?
I do.
You just want to see more sex scenes with Rosita.
I do, yeah.
What's the point if they're not going to show any butt crack or nipples? Or anything?
Apparently everyone has in the Walking Dead world has the longest back ever. Because it's just like down, 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 down,
and
down,
everybody's super ripped and cut.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, they would definitely be more well, I don't know. They've got food, but I mean, especially being on the road, like Rick seemed to get buffer in the time that they were on the road.
He's got some incredible pectorals.
And then it's like now, it's like I would imagine everybody would came to the doors of Alexandria looking like a skin and bones. I mean, they had to eat dogs. All right, well, that's a good wrap up for this one. We are headed into the season 6 finale. We're nervous. Just not excited at all. I am, but I'm not. I'm not looking forward to it.
And that'll conclude our first full season.
And we will be following Fear the Walking Dead, which starts immediately after. I don't know how many episodes they're doing, but we'll cover that as well.
If it's a summer show, I have a feeling it'll probably be like between 8 and 12.
Right,
like
sounds about
very
right.
well. Yeah. And we also plan to do some Game of Thrones work here soon. If you got a show or something, or maybe movies or something you'd like for us to review, we could do specialty podcasts. Someone says, "Hey, I want to see your take on this movie."
Just doing everything about like TV, movies, and all that.
Right,
stuff.
we might come up with
like a Geek Time sort of show.
Yeah, we might come up with
whatever we're geeking out on this week: comics, video games, TV.
We could call ourselves the Nerdist.
No moderator. Isn't that taken?
Is it?
That's the Talking Dead.
It is. It's that guy that I refuse to name. It's his podcast.
Is it Chris? Is
yes.
That his name? I got it right
this time.
No,
it's Gary.
Oh, Gary. Okay,
Yeah.
Gary Hartwick.
Gary Hartwick.
Gary Hartwick's Nerdist. But,
man, we should mention Gary Shandling's dead.
Oh, that's right.
I saw that. That's sad.
And then the Variety spelled it Gary Sandling because they got Larry Sanders mixed with his name. I guess they thought his real name was. But yeah, just a shout out to the family and estate of Gary Shandling. That was really sad.
Sucks.
Without him, we wouldn't have Curb Your Enthusiasm and things like that.
So we might have a podcast we work on where there is no moderating on my part. We'll just nerd the hell out.
Could you imagine such a world? I don't want to live in a world with such chaos.
We go lots of fun things, and we like feedback from you guys. Definitely steers us in the directions that we go. So comment if you want more of this, less of this.
I was looking back through the YouTube pages, like all of our videos, and it's really cool to watch how people who talk to us all the time, who comment and stuff like that on every episode, going back and watching them when they're first commenting.
When they first are like, I just found your podcast, yada, yada, yada. And then now here we are like 10 podcasts later and they're still commenting, which is
Man,
excellent.
How many have we've done how many podcasts? Probably like 20, right?
We've done a lot because not just, what are we on now? Is this 15?
This is 15 that we just 15. did. And then we did all during
So we got
the
15.
Break.
We did all during the break. And then we've even got, so.
We're pushing about 20 episodes or so. Pretty sure we're going to be like the 1 year mark. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. We get to the 1 year, we're going to have to like.
Blood and guts from the ceiling and like confetti and all that. It's going to be great.
Absolutely. All right. Well, before we go, one last thing from you guys. Episode rating, starting with Matt.
7.5.
Okay, that's not as bad as I thought you were going to give it.
Yeah, it's not as bad as I thought I was going to give it.
All right, quickly to JP before he changes his mind.
We talked it up a lot during the podcast.
Right, because you realize what a build-up it was.
Exactly.
The finale, we'll see whether or not it makes it all worth it. And an hour and a half finale. Don't forget.
90 minutes. Set your clocks.
It's going to be even longer, which makes me even more nervouser. Nervouser. So JP, what do you give this episode?
I'm going to give it like an 8.5. I really like the Johnny Cash song at the beginning too. I like that.
To start the podcast off with that and say we would treat it, and this song was so symbolic. If you listen to
I can't
what
believe
he was
I didn't
saying.
think about that until just now.
Very symbolic.
That was cool, watching everybody, a little montage of everyone. And I was really confused at the beginning of the show, the whole clip, like showing the empty, where Carol's shootout.
That's the second. Not the second. They've probably done it more than that, but that's the second time I can think of off the top of my head they've done that. Because remember they did that with Rick at the end of season 5, where he had killed the what are they, the takers or whatever they call them, the claimers, the people that.
All we know is it ends.
You remember
in
he
ER.
was sitting there with the blood on his face and all that.
They were going to rape Carl.
You're like, is Carl dead? You didn't know what happened until it finally did happen.
They were just jerks. That's what they were.
So so you give it an 8.5, 7.5. I'm gonna go between the two of you and give it an 8, and give it a solid 8. It was a good.
I think I want to go down to 7. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
It's good having you right between us.
I would have probably done 8.5.
I get it.
Sweet sandwich action. That's all I'm saying.
I probably would have given. It an 8.5 had JP not. But I don't want to sound like I'm cramping his style. So 7.5, 8, 8.5.
There you go. It feels good.
It does.
Admit it.
I'm still, people can argue the difference. That's why you're here. But I'm thinking this is possibly one of the best seasons we've had in The Walking Dead. I mean, it's
I'll go with that.
consecutively
Very good season.
like something's happening. Even slow episodes, something is happening.
Yeah.
So I'm loving season 6. I mean, I think we picked a hell of a season to jump into the podcasting game.
No doubt.
story.
Thank you for sticking with us. Once again, I'm Justin.
Hey, I'm Matt.
And I'm JP.
We'll see you next week.
All excited.